Next, I will analyse the generic codes and conventions of newspapers encoded into this media text. To begin this stage of my analysis, I will first look at what generic content has been encoded into this media text. A masthead has been employed at the top of the front page in order to establish a semiotic identity for the newspaper, with the masthead then being connotative of that brand of newspaper. Directly under the masthead, we see two distinct generic elements. The first is a dateline box that clearly establishes the date of the issue, and the second is the price of the newspaper. The next group of generic content that is present is that of continuation notes and page numbers that aid in content navigation of the newspaper. Moving on then, the next piece of generic content present is that of captions, which are used to identify what the images that are used to coincide with stories and articles actually represent. The next piece of generic content present is the strapline that appears under the header of a story, which gives a very brief introduction to the story or article. Finally, the last two pieces of generic content are adverts, which advertise various services and products, and the placing of contact information for the newspaper to enable the demographic to be involved more in what goes into their local newspaper. The next group of generic codes and conventions I will analyse are the generic layout conventions employed within the newspaper. The first noticeable layout convention is that of using columns to structure the body text. Apart from this, you have the use of a splash head on the front cover and the use of subheads on the inside cover in order to identify the sections of text present. Finally, you have the use of borders and gutters to control the spread of content on the page and hence keep the content in a uniform fashion, aiding in the clarity of conveying news to the target demographic. The last group of generic codes and conventions I will analyse are the main generic graphical elements of the newspaper. The first is that of using white on black to add contrast to certain sections of text, such as the splash heading on the front cover. Finally, the last main graphic element expressed is the use of a sans serif font throughout the majority of text held within the newspaper, which is done in order to aid the clarity of the text, which in a sense aids its aim of addressing a mass demographic, as a sans serif font would be easier for older people to read than a serif font, hence aiding its accessibility to its target demographic. Finally, the last section of this video will focus on information about the industry behind this newspaper. The Dearne Valley Weekender is a product of one of South Yorkshire's leading independent media companies, the Garnet Dickinson Group. Alongside the Dearne Valley Weekender, this indie company produces other local papers such as the Rotherham Record and the Rotherham Advertiser. However, this independent company does not only focus on newspaper publishing, and when combined with its other divisions makes one of the largest independent print-based publication producers in the UK, but also provides servicing, design and internet programming services for print-based publication producers and owners worldwide.